In this video, I want to point out something that a lot of Unity developers building tools are either missing, or let's face it, most of the time, they're just a little bit too busy to actually do. And that is profiling their tools. You see, we all know to profile our game, especially when it's running at 10 FPS for some reason. But how often do we profile our tools? Well, in this video, I will show you how, because it's not obvious. And if it's in the documentation, well, I haven't found it yet. So let's look at our editor. Here we have this beautiful scene from Nature Manufacturer, which I'll link to in the description. Now I've set up some code to make the editor fairly unhappy on a particular selection within our hierarchy. Nothing too major, just a little disgruntled, and enough that we will see a change within the profiler. Speaking of, let's get that open by going to Window, Analysis, Profiler. You'll notice that nothing is moving at the moment. If we start our game, then everything kicks off and the charts start moving. That is because we're in play mode for the profiler. And this is where the not so known about feature of the profiler comes into action. We can actually switch it to edit mode. Suddenly, even though we've stopped our game, the profiler still comes to life. Now watch, as I switch between any object and the spawn object, we see this big blue wave coming across our profiler. Now what is this telling us? Well, it's telling us to like the video and make sure we're subscribed to the channel if we haven't already, so we don't miss out on future videos. But it's also telling us the object we have selected is kind of a bad apple. But how do we find out what the problem child is on this object? Well, we press on the frame charts and our line falls off the end before we can search our hierarchy. You see, a lot of times when we're using the profiler in play, we can just pause the action, press on the chart, and get to our hierarchy to see what's going on. To stop the line from falling off the end, what we can do at any point is actually hit the button for recording profile information, and you'll see that everything on the chart grinds to a halt. Now we can drop that line and search across our chart to find where things are going bad. In this case, it's pretty much everywhere. Now, we can look at the hierarchy, which is the bottom window, and we can see that as we descend, it appears our spawn editor is actually the problem, and in particular, where it's using the find assets. Now, we can open up our spawn editor in the editor, and we can jump to the code to see what's going wrong. And we can see that someone has made it so that whenever the application updates, it searches the entire asset database to find all the character prefabs we have set up, just so it can fill in the pop-up on the inspector. With the problem found, I can rewrite that code, fire the engineer who wrote it in the first place, and reprofile just to wrap everything up in a nice little bow. Now, I realise this was a very quick introduction, as I know a lot of you out there have already used the profiler extensively in your game runtimes. But let me know in the comments if you would like me to dig in deeper on the profiler in a future video. And for the experienced among you, maybe you want to leave some tips that you would like me to include. And after all that, you can go and try running the profiler while you're using your own tools. It can make a set of wonderful refactoring tasks for you. Think of it as my gift to you.